series, obviously. Making good progress. We're only slightly behind time, but actually I had quite a wide departure window and I left in the middle of it, so that's not too bad. Clouds are clearing up a bit. It's quite nice. So yeah, what was I talking about? Yeah, luggage, charge port, Xperia. Yes. So yeah, I was talking about how I've got this bag strapped at the back, and every time I go to charge, I got to lift the seat, which means I got to adjust the bag. It's all a faff. The Xperia, which is the new product from Energica. This is an Energica, by the way. It has the charge port not under the seat, but on the side of the bike, which is brilliant. And you know, I can understand why Energica put it there, because this is derived from a race bike. And on the race bike, it just makes sense. The guy jumps off, they pop the seat, the guys like stick the giant charging stack into it. It's a sensible place for it in that context. And it's just because all of these bikes are derived from that race bike. They all have the charge point, like the charge port, in the same place. Because it's a nuisance to repackage it, basically. And yeah, it's really cool that the Xperia has it on the side, because that's a much better place for it. So like, you could put a strap bag on the Xperia's pillion seat and not have to worry about adjusting it at all. And that's really good. It's definitely a very good move. But I have to deal with the underseat charge port. Gassy today. Oh, there's the sun. Oh, nice. Nice. Earlier on, I was like, oh, I'm gonna have to zip everything up. Oh, great. I forgot to do it before I started. But if the sun comes out, it might be okay. It might be nice and warm. Don't want it to be too warm. I don't want to repeat the 2020 trip where I was wringing my socks out. But a nice bit of sun without it being too warm would be quite nice. Yeah. So yeah, last episode I was talking about, you know, what's been going on in my life. This episode, I guess I'll continue that thread. Yeah, I went to the LFM summer party. I haven't been to a London meet in ages. When was the last time? I think I went to the winter party, which would have been just after MFF. So that would be December, just before I got this. But before that, I think I hadn't been to one since 2020. Just because I wasn't living in London anymore, and like I didn't feel like doing any of the stuff to go to the meet. I had to travel and do LFTs, and it's a whole production. And yeah, I didn't really feel like it, but I wanted to go to the summer party. I always loved doing that one. It was a really good time. There were some people there I didn't expect to see. hi Energica, and there were some people there who I did expect to see. The ever lovely Ducato. Ducato and Joey are two friends of mine from Italy. If you've watched my 2019 travelogue, those are the guys I stayed with down in Rome. And yeah, I totally didn't expect Kurt and Carla to be there. They came over from Mexico. So that was really amazing. And I got to see a whole lot of other people I haven't seen in ages. I talked before, I think it was in Shropshire Hills, about how without passive means of maintaining contacts with people, it's been extremely hard to maintain, to actively maintain contact with people, and that leaves you feeling very isolated and lonely. But it's just so good to just go somewhere and meet people. And Confuzzled was really good for that as well, obviously. But Confuzzled's a convention. It's a bit of a wild ride sometimes. Meets are a lot less hectic. They're a lot shorter, for sure, but they're a lot less hectic. And yeah, conventions is a lot of stuff on, whereas the meets, it's just the meet is there, and you go to the meet and you do the meet, and you're basically there to socialise with people. There's not any panels or anything. Yeah, I had a really, really good time. Get to wear my wolf out again. I miss going to meets regularly. I used to go to meets very regularly. And then, after moving out of London, I didn't have a local meet to travel into. I think Birmingham was the closest one. But I used to do coffee meets. Every fortnight there was a coffee meet in Birmingham, and the guy I was lodging with went to them pretty regularly. He drove into Birmingham, so I just hitched a ride with him. And then once the pandemic sort of rolled in, everything kind of shut down, and I stopped going to any meets or anything because there weren't any on. And then after it, it hasn't ended, but as it's become less present in our lives, shall we say, I've been very slow to sort of get back into doing meets. I kind of feel bad about that. Not because I feel like an obligation to go to meets or anything, but just because it's not good for me personally to be just at home and not socializing with people, especially as a single person. And yeah, it just feels really good to go back out and do meets and stuff. Yeah. And not just the London meets. So I went to my local meet for the first time in July. I'm going to miss it because it's on next weekend. So that's... obviously I won't be at home. But I'm planning to do the one in September. And I've got some friends coming up from Hinckley to join me to go to that meet, so that's going to be nice. bringing us into Market Harborough now. But yeah, it's I'm gonna go to that one regularly. It's got a nice vibe to it. There's some nice people who go. Make some connections and, you know, have friendships with people in my local area and that kind of thing. It's very important. I did obviously live in Nottingham for a while in 2020, but of course it was in 2020, so there wasn't really anything to do. I met like a couple of people from the local area, and that's about it. But Nottingham's quite a nice place. The middle of Nottingham's nice. It's got pretty good railway connections. It's a city with the amenities of a city, but without being too big. It's quite close to the peaks, which is, yeah, most of what I'm talking about is pretty boring for you guys, but being close to the peaks is not, because the peaks has some really nice motorcycling roads, so I could make some good videos out there. I do already have some stuff from the peaks in my I do already have a couple of videos from the peaks up, but obviously being closer I can explore more. There's a really good gym nearby. I totally was not paying attention to that Google message. Was it that way? I think it's that one. That's a dual carriageway. No. It's not a dual carriageway. Yeah, it's got a nice gym nearby. There's nice canals you can go for walks along. My house is quite close to public transport. It takes me like right into the city. I think this is Market Harborough. Let's pick up this thread on the other side of Market Harborough, just because I don't want to inflict like riding through a town on you guys. It's kind of boring. I'll save that for some of the continental trips. I feel like this should just be pedestrianized. Like, I feel like nobody is being served by routing an A road through a narrow 20-mile-an-hour shopping street. And here we are. That was a horse. Yeah, that wasn't too bad. But, you know, it gets boring like the 100th time, right? Sometimes, like, maybe I might clip a bit in the middle just to give an idea what this, like, the middle of Market Harborough looks like. Because maybe, like, some of my viewers aren't British and don't really know what a British town looks like. But generally speaking, like, I particularly like inflicting the 30-mile-an-hour crawl on people. Alright, what was I talking about before I stopped? I kind of forgot. God! Wow. I don't know how much you guys saw of that. That was just a giant ridge in the tarmac. What? What was that? Northamptonshire? Seriously? My bag physically jumped. Set that for a second. So I can check I'm not lost my fucking shoes. Nope, okay, they're still there. Yeah, my bag physically jumped on the scene. Like, the hell was that? So what was I talking about? Meats? Yeah, I was talking about meats. And how good it was to get my local meat. How nice. Oh, how nice Nottingham is. Nottingham is quite nice. It's a nice place. Got good public transport links to where my house is. And yeah, I'm happy with my purchase. The house is, I mean, it's not perfect. Not by any stretch. It is very much like an old person's house. By which I mean, like, the decor is not just tired, but it's best effort type stuff. The carpets are all very old. The walls are all wallpapered and then painted white over it. It's got an avocado bathroom for the memes. But also a carpet in the bathroom, which is lame. It needs a rewiring. The little flat roof over the front door that was leaking, I've had that done. And the kitchen sucks. The kitchen has no appliance units. So essentially, like, there are a million cupboards, way more cupboards than I have any use for, but there's no space for appliances, so I'm going to have to take some of those cupboards out and then deal with, like, the mismatched space size. I need to get a plumber in to do some plumbing for a dishwasher, because I really need a dishwasher. I do have a utility room where I've got my washing machine. And it's actually really handy that it's got a utility room, because I can set up my dehumidifier in there and dry all my stuff with the dehumidifier. That's really the way to go, in my opinion, for drying stuff. But you do need to have a space that you can use for it. That's cheekily hidden. Yeah, you do need to have a space for it, and not everyone does. I've actually been AC charging the bike at 8 amps rather than 13. get an electrician in to do a whatever the thing is called. There's a name for it. It's a condition certificate. And then I need to have basically most of the house rewired, I reckon. It's got an old, like, rewirable fuse box that needs replacing with a consumer unit at the very least. It's got an 80 amp supply. I'm probably going to want more than that. Well, I mean, that big can wait. I'm gonna... It's got a gas boiler. I don't really like the gas boiler, but you know, it is very much the thing. It does have provision to have a water tank put in, but of course it's a condensing boiler, so the water tank's been taken out. I'm gonna have that put back in because I'm gonna switch that over to like a heat pump to heat my hot water in a tank, and I'm going to switch all of the heating in the house over to two-way air conditioning, which I cannot get a grant for, which is suck, but I should be able to get the whole house over onto AC this winter and get it rewired, and that'll mean that I might be able to get rid of a gas boiler. I don't know if I'm going to have enough to get like the whole thing done, but I will at the very least have the gas boiler down to heating water, and depending on the boiler upgrade grant thing, I might be able to get the hot water over to a water tank as well with an air source heat pump, which is what I want, because I want to get rid of all of like my combusting stuff. I have 7 combusting devices, and I want to get down to 2. So the 2 that I want to keep are my camping stove, which there is really not acceptable replacement, and my barbecue. And yeah, you know, I can get an electric barbecue. Electric barbecues suck. They really do. And you know, frankly, I use the barbecue kind of. I don't really use it a lot. I use it rarely enough that it's not a big deal. So that just leaves my 5 other combusting devices, one of which is the boiler, which I can progressively sort of get rid of. And then I've got the weird old grill that's mounted in the wall, so that can go. They just need a plumber to disconnect the gas supply for it. Then there's the hob. I want to get a induction hob, sort of stove, I guess, if you're American. Basically, the thing that you cook stuff on. I want to replace that with an induction hob. And then there's the oven. I haven't used the oven at all, because I opened it and was like, so I want to replace it anyway, but I'll replace it with an electric fan oven. And then there's there is a core. Oh, well, I didn't get the best sleep this night. of course, the... Are we coming into Northampton? There is, of course, the VFR. The VFR is a combusting device. It operates by putting fossil fuels in and burning them. Alas. Yeah, I've not really ridden the VFR at all since I got this. I put like 55 miles on it. And it's not in the best condition. I think the rear shock might need work. But also, like, the exhaust needs replacement. It needs a new battery. The electrics I haven't had a chance to look at. I've just kind of been busy with like a million other things, mainly at this point. But I intend to do the exhaust and do a couple of the connectors before August or before October, because its MOT is due mid-November, so kind of mid-October onwards I want to be like looking at getting the MOT done, so I want to do those things then. And kind of like I'm never going to get the money and effort that I put into it back when I sell it, but I'm going to do those things and have it nicely sorted out.
Exit the roundabout.
So that I can pass it on to someone and not be like, yeah, passing on like a project bike, or, you know, this is a massive turd that I'm just giving you. I want to have it in decent condition so I can pass it on, whether I sell it or just give it to someone, you know. I might sell it, or I might just hold on to it, keep it going until someone I know needs a motorbike and just be like, here you go, this one works. It's fun, it's given me many years of good service, but it is at some point going to go. And this trip is kind of like the final proving of my electric experience, because the Energica's just done everything the VFR does. It can't do some of it as well as the VFR does. You know, the VFR can really crush those long distance runs. But part of the way it does that is by being fast on the motorway. And yeah, I kind of have a limited desire to do things that way. So yeah, I had concerns about how much luggage I could take, but I think I've actually fit basically as much luggage as I would have had on the VFR on this bike, purely just by being better at packing. And yeah, I expect, I've got like as enough experience with this bike now to expect that it's going to handle this tour just fine. And the only big issues that I'm going to have are infrastructure, so like, you know, going to a charge point and it being broken or having to wait, and thermal management. So, am I going to be throttled on successive charges? I think this is coming into Northampton now, actually. But yeah. I think this bike is going to handle it just fine. I actually think there's not going to be very much issues with the bike itself at all. And that's what's leading me to think that, you know, actually I'm going to get rid of the VFR. I don't ride it, and I don't have any occasion where I'm like, yeah, I would pick this over the Energica. And this is the scenario where I really felt the VFR would be the bike that I would pick. And if it were running, I would still be taking the Energica. So there you go. This is Northampton. And that means that this is going to be the end of this episode. And I'm not going to pick it up again after Northampton because it's going to be dual carriageways. So I guess the next episode will be in wow! We don't really get those over here. That's got to be an import. So, wow, that's a rare one. Anyway, the next episode will be starting in Cherwell Valley. So I'll see you there. If you got anything to say, comment section is down below. Love to hear from you. If you enjoyed this episode, give it a thumbs up, like thing. If you did, you could check out some of my other videos. I have many other videos, some of which you may enjoy, and if you do enjoy them, consider subscribing. Hit the bell, of course. And if you'd like to reward me for entertaining you today, you can find my coffee link in the description below. Bye-bye.